those are going to be the ventricles. Remember that you're looking at the rack, so right and left are reversed. So this side over here, this is going to be the right ventricle. Over here, this is going to be the left ventricle. There are flaps on the top of the heart. So this flap over here, this is going to be the right atrium. The flap over here, this is going to be that left atrium. Okay, then, coming off the top of the heart is this arch. This is the aorta. Then coming off the arch, the first branch that we have right here, this is the innominate. Notice the innominate splits. One part goes straight up, that's the common carotid. One part goes off to the side, that's the right common carotid. One part goes off to the side, that is the right subclavian. Think subclavian is going underneath clavicle. Then the next one that comes off our arch, this one right here, this is the left common carotid. Remember, the carotids are the ones that go to your brain. Those are the ones that get scraped because plaque builds up in them and people have little mini strokes because the blood's not getting to the brain. Then this one right over here, this is the left subclavian. Subclavian going underneath the clavicle, headed off to the arm. You have to know those blood vessels. Then down here in the abdomen, you have to know this big blue one is the inferior vena cava, and then next to it, this pink one, this is the abdominal aorta. Then you also have to know with the kidney, the blue one going into the kidney is the renal vein. The pink one going into the kidney is the renal artery. So you can see those two right there side by side. Then this is the kidney right here. Okay, then let's see, what's the next thing to show you? Remember, this is all liver right here. What separates the abdominal cavity from the thoracic cavity, this is the diaphragm. And so if you're above the diaphragm, you're in the thoracic cavity. If you are below the diaphragm, then you're in the abdominal cavity. So there's one rad. Here is our next rat. Okay, on this one, I have pulled out the liver. And so remember here, this is our diaphragm separating thoracic cavity from abdominal cavity. And this is the stomach. So there's the stomach. Top part of the stomach is the fundus. Bottom part of the stomach is the pylorus. You can see right here where it pinches. And so that's going to be that pyloric sphincter. Then coming after that, the first part of the small intestine is the duodenum. Then we have the coiled up part, that's the jejunum. And then remember this part right here that doesn't go anywhere, that's the cecum. And so the skinny part coming into the cecum, the skinny part that comes into the cecum right there, that's going to be the ileum. And then the large part coming off of the cecum, that's the large intestine or colon, and I don't care which term you use. And what I will do is I will put a like red pen in the duodenum and say red pen section, that's duodenum. And then I'll have white pen in the coily part, and I'll say white pen section, that's jejunum. Then I'll have a blue pen here, and I will say blue pen section, and that will be ileum. Then I'll say red, white, and blue pen structure, and you'll tell me small intestine. So that's how that'll be done. Then, going down the middle of the back, this is the rectum. Now this one can look different. This one has bulges in it of waste. So it may be bulgy like that. The whole thing could be skinny like this part right here that doesn't have anything in it. It could be that it has little sections, little bulge and then a skinny part, bulge and a skinny part. So it all depends on how the waist is. So the rectum just goes right down the middle of the back. Okay, then going into the stomach up here, this is the esophagus. And so I will have the liver pulled and you'll be able to see that esophagus going into the stomach, so the tube going into the stomach. Okay, then this one is a male. You will have to be able to identify the testis, and then the tube that runs down the back of it, that's the vas deferens. You will have to be able to identify the scrotum. You will have to be able to identify the penis, and the opening in the penis, if I actually have a pin in that, will be the urinary meatus or the urethra. Then up here above the heart, all of this material that sits up on top of the heart, that's the thymus. Don't forget you have to know your systems also. So I may have blue pin structure and its thymus, and then I may say blue pin system, and remember that's lymphatic. So you've got to know your systems. Okay, so that's that rat.
That's just 4 of
And on this rat,
This one's hard.
you're going to have to be able to identify the trachea, and you can even see the cartilage rings in that trachea. And then it splits, and those are the bronchi, where it splits, and then these are the lungs. And then there's a flap of the diaphragm, this is all the liver, and then look at how big this stomach is. So this one had a lot to eat right before it died. Its
Yay.
last meal was huge. Then underneath the stomach, we have the spleen. It's this finger-like looking thing right here. And then hanging underneath the spleen, all this gunky looking stuff is there. That is the pancreas. Then, this next one.
That's the last
And on this one, this is a female. And you're going to have to be able to identify the uterus. And the uterus forms like a Y. So it starts down here, and then it extends up each side. And those of you who had the females that were pregnant, look at how skinny that tube is. So think how much it's stretched to have all those babies in it. So that's the uterus. Then in either the male or the female, this is the urinary bladder. This one's pretty much about the size most of them are, but it might be really, really small depending on if there's no urine in it, or it might be a lot bigger than that depending on if there is urine in it. So just know that that's going to be where the bladder is. Then this is the urinary meatus or the urethra. It's our first opening, the one closest to the head. Below that, that's the vagina. And then below that, that's the anus. So you have to know those openings. So urethra, vagina, anus. Then you've got to know your membranes. And in the abdominal cavity, this membrane, that shiny part that's covering it, that's the parietal peritoneum. In the thoracic cavity, that shiny membrane up there, that's the parietal pleura. And then in holding the intestine together, that's the mesentery. So those are your membranes. Then some of your external structures that you have to know. This is the filtra, that little split above the lip, right there. External nares, just the nostrils, the nose holes. Then we have the flap, that's the pinna. And then the opening is the external auditory meatus. All right, what did I leave? Oh, the membrane around the heart. Membrane around the heart is the pericardium. And just think about what the word says. Para, around, cardium, heart. So the membrane around the heart is the pericardium. And this would start to disappear. There's a little piece of it there. orifice, you can just call that vagina.
I can't. How do I do this?
How much is this worth? $150 without the
I'll
garter.
take a seat. I can't. I can't. I can't. I'm holding it. What is this? Oh, my finger. I can't.
I didn't show you the ureter, did I?
No.
Something different one than I showed you.
Gosh. How do people do this in concerts? There's so many.
Oh, I didn't go over your baby.
They're baby parts. They're singing again.
So now remember,
Hello.
this is the kidney. Remember the blue one going into the kidney is what?
Renal
Renal what?
vein.
And then the pink one going into the kidney is the
Renal artery.
renal artery. And then this string coming off of it is the ureter.
Oh.
Here's the ureter. And then on the baby,
Babies.
you are going to have to know
Okay.
fetus, placenta, umbilical cord.
That's easy.
Those are the parts you have to know on the baby. Do you all know your babies well enough? Can you tell me which one this one is?
That's not ours.
Yes, it is. This is one of your
Oh
children.
no!
I took
It's the
one
fat
of your
one.
children. You don't even know which child it is.
Is it Iron?
It's so pitiful. Look, the poor little thing is just a gasp. He's got his hand over his mouth.
Lyman was our favorite. He's the only one
We only and Simon. Lyman and Simon.
This is Simon,
No, that's Iman.
not the firstborn. What is Simon, the firstborn?
Yes, Simon's the first one.
You're so cute. All right. Now, does that cover everything? I think it is. All right, let's go through and do some quizzing. And then
Do I keep
after
it
we
rolling?
do some quizzing, then you can have me show you what you need to see again.
All of them.
Here, you hold it for the next 13 minutes. Don't give it to her. It's not hers.
What is this? What is that?
Diaphragm.
Oh, what is this thing?
Heart.
What's this little flap up here on the heart? It's hard to see.
Isn't that the
What?
right?
Okay. What's this?
I can't see.
It's also hard to see. They're beside the heart. Kind of see, it's kind of pointed. Goes like that. All those colors are the same in there.
Ôi trời ơi.
Is it a lung? It is a lung. Very good.
Wow.
All right, then what is this?
Kidney.
What is this blue?
Renal.
Vein.
What? Nope.
Vena cava.
Inferior vena cava.
Inferior. Something.
Ureter.
No.
Ureter?
That's
No,
some
the pink.
something artery.
The
What?
abdominal aorta.
Aorta.
What's the blue right here going into the kidney?
Renal vein.
What's the pink going into the kidney?
Renal artery.
Renal artery. What does renal mean?
Lung. I mean kidney now.
Next.
Kidney.
All right, then let's see if up here in the neck.
Oh God.
What is?
I can't see it.
What is this arch on top